What's up, Thrashers, and welcome back once again to the Thrash Maniac 99 YouTube channel, and I am back with yet another album review, and to conclude the weekend of Friday, March the 13th, I am talking about the latest offering from Gluttony, Eulogy to Blasphemy. Like I said, this came out on Friday, March 13th, this time on FDA Records. This is the band's fourth studio full-length overall, and this is, I believe, the first time I'm checking this band out, but I've heard some good things about this band, and for those who don't know, this is a Swedish death metal band, and if you listen to this album, it is definitely Swedish death metal. Like, the HM2 tone is all the way throughout this album, but in terms of the songwriting, it's kind of all over the place, if I'm going to be honest. Like, there are a lot of different elements going on here within the songs themselves. Like, they'll change up different styles from song to song. And to kind of get started with that, let's talk about the opening track, All These Trees Are Gallows. After a weird intro track, it goes into, like, nasty, groovy riffs. You definitely get a sense of the HM2 tone, like, right away. But then it goes into, like, punky D beats and tremolos, which, again, does feel rather appropriate, since it is a big trope of Swedish death metals to have some of that punky D beat spirit to it, and tremolos on top. But, of course, you also get some, like, really cool blast beats, some awesome chugging riffs, and double-time grooves, which double-time grooves are kind of barren on here, apart from this track, which, yeah, this is the only song to really have, like, a double-time groove. And just when you think, okay, we're gonna have something more along the lines of this song throughout the album. But it changes gears right away when we go into Hung from Entrails. The groove and the chug that is prevalent on this track feels closer to Cannibal Corpse. Like, this almost sounds like if Cannibal Corpse played with an HM2 tone. That's what's going on here. You get some, like, awesome, like, triplet chugs, but it does get thrashy, so we do get some more thrashy riffs, and of course, tremolo riffs, which tremolo riffs are all over the place on this album, so I don't even need to say tremolo riffs that much anymore. But the thrashiness does continue with Excoriation Thrall, but even though it starts off thrashy, it does somehow switch gears a little bit towards grindcore. Like, it gets a little bit punky and a little grindy, but you do get some, like, really cool gallops, and there's even some melodies that come in on this track, which melody doesn't really pop up at all on this album, apart from this song, and then it does go into some pretty cool groove, and this is the only time on the album I will say there's, like, a lead melody of any kind. So, no real leads to speak of. For the most part, it's just all about the riffs, all about the in-your-face attitude of this album. And then it continues on a thrashy path with the title track. Like, there's some awesome, like, thrash metal riffs, triplet gallops, some big squealy dive bombs. But then, just when you thought, okay, we're going to stick to more of a thrash gear, then it goes into Awoken an Autopsy, which the pun with having autopsy in the title might be intended, because the first half of the song feels more like autopsy, like it's doomy, it's sinister, but just when you thought, okay, we're gonna get a Death Doom song, it switches gears to almost like death and roll, like it's more mid-tempo, more death and roll oriented, very much like Entombed Wolverine Blues. And Death and Roll comes back again on the track Corpses Eating Corpses, so both of these songs have like a Death and Roll vibe to it. But A Face Devoured by Rats, which is the track in between, this song feels closer to like Unleashed, like you get tremolo riffs, like a beat that's like in between a thrash beat and a D beat, but you get blast beats, you do get groove, you do get gallops, and gallops come up quite a lot in the second half of the album, like in Threshold to Non-Existence and A Haunting Wordless Choir. You get, like, big gallops, but in the case of Threshold to Non-Existence, it's mostly, like, tremolo and diarrhea blasts, which that also pops up on the closer, Immured by Rotting Corpses. Diarrhea blasts and tremolos, but you get some more D beats to it. And then A Haunting Wordless Choir, it's like you get gallops and chugs, but they feel a little bit more towards thrash rather than death metal. So it's like, man, within songs themselves, it's like they'll switch up everything into going from like one subset of death metal to another at times. And I will say that might have been both a blessing and a curse for this album. A blessing in the sense that, hey, they're touching on a lot of different assets of death metal, almost like this is a death metal sampler platter. Here you go, take a bite of each sample and tell me what you think. Which I always like that approach to kind of be like, okay, we don't want to do the same kind of song over and over and over again. We want to explore within our wheelhouse by touching on all these other aspects of what death metal has always been about or evolved into. So that, I say, would be a blessing. It's a curse in the sense that they'll do it mid-song on a few of these tracks. Like I said, in Awoken and Autopsy is really the big example, where it's like it starts off Death Doom, then it goes into Death and Roll, and the transition didn't feel as smooth as it should have been. I will fully admit to that. But aside from that, I will say, like, the songs were entertaining. They were fun for what they were. But I do think perhaps I need to go back and listen to their early stuff to kind of get, again, the full scope of this band. But from what I've heard, this was still really damn good. So overall, I'm going to go with a 3.5 out of 5. I do think this is some really good stuff here. It just sometimes, especially when they go from like one subset of death metal to another within a song, and the transitions don't feel as smooth, it can kind of feel a little bit jagged. But still, fun stuff overall. To say what bands, if you're into like Entombed, Dismember, Autopsy, Unleashed, maybe even Cannibal Corpse, check this out. You might get something you like about death metal in a lot of these songs. But of course, those are just my opinions. What did you guys think? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. But until next time, thank you for watching, keep your horns high, and your dreams wet.